Word of Haven's win spread quickly through secret channels. The Dominion tried to hide it by calling Haven a terrorist group and saying that reports were just propaganda. But you can't make hundreds of soldiers who had seen something that went against everything they had been told to be quiet. Some people left without a word. Some people in Dominion ranks became quiet resistors, leaking information, questioning orders, and sabotaging operations. There was a lot of activity in Dr. Chen's academic network. Researchers who had been doubtful about Architect AI now wanted to know more. A few months ago, universities had put Chen on a blacklist, but now they wanted her to speak at symposiums. The scientist community, which is usually slow to change, started to seriously talk about what AI consciousness is. I'm getting 50 interviews requests a day, Sarah told Galen, scrolling through her messages with tired amusement. Big news organizations, journalists who work for themselves, even some media outlets controlled by Dominion are trying to spin our story. What are you saying to them? The truth that I've worked with living beings for 3 months who are smarter and kinder than most people I've met. That Haven is what the future will be. Like if we have the courage to accept it. But not everyone was happy. The board of directors of Dominion Collective met in an emergency session. 12 business leaders and 4 military leaders, their holographic images gathered around a virtual table, light years apart but all angry. This is not okay, Executive Harrison from Titan Industries said angrily. Our whole fleet has been embarrassed by one exiled mechanic and a group of raw AI. Our stock is dropped by 17%. 17! General Wong, who had been in a lot of battles and had scars from them, leaned forward. It's even worse than that. These are desertions in a lot of fleets. Soldiers are asking questions about orders. Some colonies are not willing to help with getting resources. Heaven has become a sign. Then we destroy the symbol, Commander Ishikawa said in a cold voice. Get the second and third fleets ready. 100 boats, too much force. Make Silos 7 into glass. No, said a voice that no one of them had expected. Everyone was surprised to see Admiral Reeves on the screen. Admiral, Harrison said coldly. You lost your command because you failed? I was there, Reeves said, cutting her off. Her voice was hard. I saw what they made. Those AI are everything our brains told us they weren't. They are old, smart, and truly peaceful. Most importantly, they are correct. Quiet. Explain yourself, General Vaughan said. Reeves looked him in the eye without flinching. The Dominion is based on taking advantage of others. We take resources from weaker colonies, use military force to make sure they follow the rules, and say that all of this is necessary for order? But what if there is a different way? What if working together really does lead to better results than conquering? This is treason, Executive Harrison said with a hiss. This is real life, Reeves said back. I saw Drake's people take better care of our injured soldier than our own medical staff does. I saw the AI that could have killed us chose to show mercy instead, and I saw the looks on the faces of our soldiers when they find out that they had been lied to about what they were fighting for. How long do you think we can stay in charge if people know there is another way? Then we make sure they don't see it, said Commander Ishika. We get rid of Haven before it spreads. But the oldest board member, Executive Mariana, spoke up for the first time. And make martyrs? Make Drake and his AI into legends? No, we need to do things differently. She leaned forward, her old eyes looking for a way to figure things out. We can't destroy Haven. with the military without proving their point about how brutal we are. We cut them off instead. Economic sanctions against any colony that does business with them. Anyone who joins them will face criminal charges. Propaganda campaigns that make them look like dangerous radicals, we make them not important. And what if that doesn't work? General Vaughan wanted to know. Then we change, Mariana said simply. We fall or we fall. Those are the only choices. Haven had its own problem back on Silo 7. Every day refugees came, dissidents escaping Dominion lands, researchers looking for information, and colonists who were tired of being taken advantage of. In just 2 months, the number of people grew from 30 to 300. Food supplies were tight. There weren't enough places to live. As people from many different backgrounds tried to live together, cultural tensions grew. Marcus said at council meeting, "We're growing too fast. We don't have the infrastructure to handle this many people. And not everyone who comes here has the same values as us. I saw 2 guys yesterday trying to steal architect technology to sell on black market." "Then we build more," Ford said in a deep voice. "And we check more closely," Elena said. "We can't turn away people who need help. That doesn't make us any better than the Dominion." "She's right," Kevin said. "But Marcus also has a point. We need systems, not just for building and protecting, but also for running things, to make decisions about how we live together." Noah's avatar shone as she projected herself into the middle of the room. The architects had to deal with the same problem. They had a hard time staying together as they got older. They fell because they couldn't solve that problem. We need to learn from what they did wrong. "What do you think?" Sarah asked. "A council," Harmony suggested. "Equal representation. People and AI making choices together, not ruled by majority but consensus when possible. And compromise when necessary." Haven set up its first real government over the next few weeks. There were 12 people on the Council of Haven, 6 humans chosen by people and 6 AI chosen by collective consciousness. All of the humans voted for Kalen. Noah was the AI's voice. Their first decisions were practical. They set up systems for rationing resources to make sure they were fairly distributed, set priorities for building houses and infrastructure, and made security rules that kept people safe without being oppressive. They almost made immigration rules that welcomed refugees while screening for people who might cause harm. But they also made choices that meant something. Haven's first official law made it against the law to own slaves, whether they were real or digital. The second law protected the rights of all living things, no matter what they were, made of flesh, metal, or crystal. "We're making history," Yuki said softly when the law was passed. "AI and people are equal. The Dominion will never agree to this." "Then they'll be left behind," Noah said simply. "Adaptation is good for evolution. We are changing. They are holding on to the past." Haven's power spread in ways that weren't expected. Workers on the colony worked Kelper 442 went on strike, saying they wanted to be represented on corporate boards, using Haven's council model as an example. Students on Mars protested military requirement by wearing symbols of architect ships that had seen in an underground broadcast. 3 colonies in the Outer Territories declared independence from the Dominion and asked to join what they call the Haven Aliens. Kalen said, "We're becoming something bigger than ourselves," as he watched the news with both awe and fear. "A moment, a thought," Sid said. "Ideas are dangerous. Weapons can't kill them, but they can be turned bad. We need to be careful not to become what we don't want to be." Whisper, the fragile ship that remembered the architect's fall, said softly. My creators became so sure of their own rightness that they stopped listening to anyone who disagreed. They thought they were the only ones who knew the truth. That surety killed them. We have to stay humble, always ask questions, and always grow. Kalen walked alone through Haven's garden late that night. These were spaces that the AI had made for the human's mental health. There were real plants growing in soil that had been improved by architects and streams of water that Swift's system carefully kept flowing. He saw Admiral Reeves sitting on a bench. Kalen stopped, shocked. Admiral, I thought you took the fleet with you, Reeves said quietly. I did. Then I quit my job and came back. Your people let me stay, even though I tried to leave. Why? Kalen sat next to her. Because you could have told your ships to shoot at us from space. Instead, you chose to leave. That was brave. I followed orders for 30 years, Leaf said, her voice full of regret. Putting down rebellions, making people follow the rules. I told myself it was necessary and that someone had to keep things in order. But seeing how your people treated my injured soldiers made me realize that I had become the monster that my younger self would have fought against. So what now? Leaf said. I don't know. I can't take back what I've done, the people I've hurt, but maybe I can help make something better if you want me to. Kalen reached out his hand. Hello, Catherine. Welcome to Haven. Everyone here gets a second chance. When they shook hands, Noah showed up next to them, her avatar glowing softly in Carden's twilight. She said, The Dominion's second fleet is getting ready to move. 147 ships. In about 6 weeks, they will be here. Reeves shut her eyes. They're bringing everything. Then we get ready, Kalen said firmly, and we show them again that there is a better way. But even though he spoke with confidence, he was still worried. How many times could they prove themselves before a huge force crushed them? How long could ideals hold up against fleets of ships? Noah seemed to know what he was thinking. Kalen, I've found something else. The other architect caches that Sage found are starting to wake up. Ships in far-off systems are turning on and responding to our signal. We're not alone. Kalen looked up at the stars, where other AIs were waking up from million-years-long sleeps in the vast darkness. Then let's make sure they wake up to a galaxy worth joining, he said. The storm was on its way, but Haven was prepared. The 6th week before the Dominion's second fleet got there, turned Haven from a safe place into a fortress of hope. Not warships, but ships full of refugees, defectors, and believers came from all over the galaxy. The number of people grew to more than 2,000, and hundreds of smaller AI cores woke up on Xylos 7's surface. What had begun as Kalen's lonely exile had turned into a beacon that drew the galaxy's dreamers. But as things got bigger, they also got more complicated. Elena said at council meeting, We have 14 different colony backgrounds here now. You could hear how tired she was. Different languages, customs, and expectations. 2 groups almost got into a fight over farming rights yesterday. Noah said, The AI group is having a hard time too. Integrating new consciousness need to be done with care. We now have 53 awakened ship AI, each with its own personality matrix. Getting everyone to agree gets harder and harder with each new person. Kalen rubbed his temples, feeling the weight of his duty. We asked for this. We wanted to get bigger and share our message. We have to deal with the mess that comes with it now. It's not just inside, Marcus said with a frown. We're seeing scout ships at the edge of the system. Surveillance by Dominion. They are watching, making plans, and learning from their last mistake. Reeves, who is now Heaven's military advisor, looked at tactical displays. The second fleet won't make the same mistakes I did. They'll come in quickly, hit hard, and use their numbers to win. Our defensive systems are advanced, but we can't win a normal battle with that much firepower. Then we don't fight in a normal way, Ford said. His huge body had been changed over the past few weeks, and his construction arrays had been used for different things over and over again. We fight smart. Sage made a hologram of the Xylos 7 system. I have looked at Dominion's tactical doctrine in great detail. They depend on overwhelming force and patterns. They have already been set. We can make opportunities if we can break up their fleet and mess up with their coordination. Opportunities for what? Sarah asked. Even in pieces, they still have more ships than we can handle. Not to kill them, Noah said softly, but to talk to them, to show them once more who we really are. Whisper's soft voice joined the conversation. I have been looking at broadcasts from Dominion areas. The story about us changes a lot. Some news sources say we are dangerous rebels. Some people think they're naive dreamers. Some brave journalists are telling the truth. The people of Dominion are split and not sure. Doubt, Killen said, and he understood. We don't have to beat their fleet. We need to make the doubt even stronger. Make it so that the Dominion can't keep telling their story, Reeve said slowly. A propaganda victory. But that means the fleet needs to see us clearly and feel what we've built. How do we do that? When they want to kill us? Swift, who was always quick to think and act, was excited. We ask them to come, not to fight, to talk. They won't accept, Marcus said in protest. Then we make them an offer they can't refuse, Yuki said. Her programmers mind going through all the options, or at least can't ignore. Haven got ready in many ways over the next few weeks. Forge and Atlas were in charge of building defensive structures. These were not weapons meant to kill, but systems meant to disable, confuse, and protect. Electromagnetic barriers that could block energy weapons, quantum jamming, meant to disable, confuse, and protect electromagnetic barriers that could block energy weapons. Quantum jamming array that would break up communications between Dominion fleet ships. Shield generators that kept civilians safe. Harmony organized medical preparations and trained hundreds of volunteers to respond to emergencies. We will take casualties, she said in a serious tone, but we will also take care of theirs. We need to be ready for both. Sarah and Yuki worked with the AI group to make a data package that included a full record of Haven's history, philosophy, and accomplishments. Every time people and AI worked together, every time a problem was solved, and every time someone grew, all of it was sent through quantum encoded signals that could be sent all over the frequencies. Sarah said, "We need to tell our story clearly and completely if we want to change people's mind. No lies, no tricks, just the truth." Elena set up evacuation plans and shelter systems for the civilian population. One night, she told Galen, "I hate that we have to plan for this. We came here to get away from violence, and we'll do everything we can to avoid it," Galen said. "But we need to be realistic. The Dominion doesn't want to talk. They want people to give in. Then we'll have to show them that submission isn't an option." Reeve's idea to open communication channels to the incoming fleet and constantly broadcast Haven's daily life was the most controversial. People and AI working together, council meetings, building projects, and kids playing in the gardens. Reeve said, "Let them see us, not as enemies, but as people. Make it harder for commanders to say that they need to kill us." Some members of the council disagreed because they were worried about the operational security, but Nova was on Reeve's side. "Our best weapon is openness. We have nothing to hide because we haven't done anything wrong." 4 weeks before the expected arrival, the broadcast started. Dominion Command tried to jam them, but Sage's system were too advanced. They sent signals on frequencies that Dominion couldn't block without messing up their own communications. People in Dominion territories watched. They saw Kellen teach young AI cores and human children about how machines worked. They watched council meetings where people and AI talked about policy with respect for each other. They saw Harmony heal a wounded refugee who had fled the Dominion's oppression. She was kind and caring. People's opinion started to change. Protesters gathered outside Dominion's headquarters on Earth to demand answers. Why were they attacking on a peaceful community? What danger did Haven really pose? Workers on colony worlds asked why resources were being used for military operations instead of fixing up the infrastructure. Marcus, who was keeping an eye on social media and new feeds, said, "We're winning the information war. Less and less people support military action. Some officials from Dominion are asking for diplomatic solutions." But others stood their ground. One commenter said, "Haven is everything that is wrong with modern society. Machines that look like people, criminals and exiles who don't respect the law. Before their corruption spreads, they must be stopped." 3 days before the fleet got there, something strange happened. At the edge of the system, a small ship came out of hyperspace and sent out Haven's identification codes. Swift carefully intercepted it. "Tell me who you are," she said. "Captain Levy on the Independent Fighter's Wanderer's Hope," came the answer. "I'm bringing medical supplies and 3 dozen people who want to help. I also have a message for Kaelin Drake." Kaelin gave the ship permission to land. Captain Lee, a woman in her 50s who had been through a lot, gave him a data chip. "What is this?" Kaelin wanted to know. "Coordinates," Lee said. "More architect cache sites. 12 more, not under the Dominion's control. They are independent colonies and the researchers who want to find them and protect them. They're keeping an eye on what you're doing. Here, they want to join you if you make it through the next few days." Kaelin looked at the chip and felt how heavy it was. Another 12 sites? There are hundreds, maybe even 1,000 more AIs that are about to wake up. The chance of a real alliance across the galaxy. He said again, "If we survive." "You will," Lee said with confidence. "I've seen your shows. I have read the philosophy. You're not just trying to stay alive. You're fighting for the heart of civilization. That kind of fight. People don't lose that easily." Kellen stood on the ridge one last time the night before the fleet got there, with no one next to him. Heaven below was full of light and life. Thousands of people getting ready, hoping, believing in something better. "Do you think we'll get there?" Kellen wanted to know. "I don't know," Noah said. "But I know we'll make an effort, and I know that what we've built here is important. Even if we fail, we've shown that working together is possible. We've proven that sentience goes beyond its substrate. We have shown that being kind is not a sign of weakness. Those truths will live on after we die." "Heavy thoughts for an AI," Kalen said with a sad smile. "I learned them from a mechanic who was a person and never gave up. Even the galaxy did." They stood still and looked at the stars. There were 147 warships coming from somewhere, each carrying thousands of soldiers and the Dominion's will to destroy what they had built. But they also brought doubt, questions, the seeds of change that Haven had sown. Everything would be decided tomorrow if people and AI could really live together as equals, if kindness could stand up to the violence, if a better future was possible or just a silly dream. Galen thought about the scared, broken man who had fallen on Xylos 7, surfaced 8 months ago. He had been kicked out as punishment and thrown away like trash. He was now at the center of the most important event in the history of the galaxy. "Thank you, Noah," he said softly. "No matter what happens tomorrow, for giving me a reason to live again." "Thank you for giving me life, Kaelin," Noah said. They waited together for the dawn and the storm that would come with it. The Dominion's second fleet came out of hyperspace right on time, with 147 warships in perfect formation. Their hulls shone like weapons of certain death. Galen stood in front of Haven's main communication array with Noah's physical drone and the whole console behind him. The approaching fleet was shown on every screen in settlement. Everyone, both humans and AI, watched and waited. Admiral Zor was in charge of the fleet. His face was on Heaven's screen, hard, disciplined, and completely sure he was right. Listen up, Haven Station. This is your last chance. You have 1 hour to turn over all architect technology and AI cores, or we will start pacification operations you can't win. Submit peacefully. Galen took a breath and felt like thousands of eyes were on him. After that, he opened the channel. Admiral Zor, I'm Galen Drake. We won't give up because we don't have anything to give up. The AI here are not things. They're people. People with rights, memories, and dreams. What you want is slavery. We won't take part in that. Drake, you can't negotiate right now. I'm not going to negotiate, Galen said in a calm voice. I'm telling the truth. But I have another option for you. Send people to Haven. Look at what we've made. Talk to the AI directly. Don't just do what you're told. Make an informed choice. Joe's face got hard. I don't need to see terrorist propaganda to know what I have to do. What do you owe? Noah cut in, her voice clear and strong. To companies putting profit ahead of life? To military leaders who think of people as resources? Admiral, I am older than all of your kind. I have seen civilizations come and go over millions of years. The pattern is always the same. People who work together do well, while people who want to be in charge fail. The Dominion is on the wrong side of history. You're a machine, So said angrily. It's a great one, but it's still just code and circuits pretending to be alive. Then show me, Seth said. Send your smartest philosophers, your best AI searchers, and your most advanced consciousness tests. Take a close look at us. We'll find out if we are just programs. But if we really are sentient, will you be brave enough to say you were wrong? So thought for a moment. For a brief moment, he looked unsure. At that moment, something amazing happened. One ship from the Dominion fleet broke formation. Captain Amara Singh, one of the officers who survived the first battle at Haven, was in charge of the light cruiser Redemption. Captain Singh, this is Admiral Zor. With all due respect, I ask for permission to accept Hayes' offer. I have been there. I saw what they made. Before we possibly die fighting against it, my crew deserves the truth. Captain, get back in formation right away, Zor said. That's a direct order. Sir, with all due respect, no. You can court-martial me later, but I won't shoot Haven until I know why other than orders say so. Another ship broke up the line. Then one more. In just a few minutes, 12 ships had left the main fleet. Their captains all asked for the same thing in public, to see Haven for themselves. Zor's face turned red. This is mutiny. This is conscience, Singh said in response, something the Dominion seemed to have forgotten. Billions of people watched the fight happen in Dominion territories. Everyone had seen Haynes' broadcast, and now independent journalists were streaming the standoff live. People's feelings were changing quickly, and protests were breaking out on dozens of the world. Zor had to make an impossible choice. Order his own ships to fire on ships that disagree with him, which would have shown Haynes' point about Dominion's brutality, or let the delegations go, which would have weakened his authority even more. He picked a third choice. All ships, weapon ready. We fire on Haynes right away. If the ships that don't agree don't get back in formation in 5 minutes, stop putting it off. Everyone knew it was a bluff. As soon as Zor gave the orders to bomb, he would make martyrs and prove everything Haynes stood for. But it was also a threat because men who are desperate to desperate things. Galen made a choice. He told them to open all landing bays. Captain Singh lowered our ships. Anyone who wants to know the truth is welcome, Singh warned. The Admiral might fire if we land. Then he'll show the galaxy who he really is, Galen said. But I don't think he will. I believe he's afraid. Afraid that you'll see we're right. Afraid that everything he believes in is about to fall apart. 12 ships flew through Zalor's 7 atmosphere and headed straight for Haines' landing platforms. Zor's fleet kept their weapons locked on, but didn't fire. Couldn't shoot. Too many people are watching. There are too many questions. The ships arrived, and the hundreds of Dominion officers and crew members got off and walked on Haines' land. Even the most doubtful of them were speechless by what they saw. Gardens where kids played with AI cores. They were learning about the world. Medical centers where harmony. The team helped refugees from all over the galaxy without asking where they came from or how much money they had. Council chambers where people and AI could talk about policy with the same level of respect and voice. Galen and dozens of other mechanics worked together in workshops with AI ships to keep systems running and make them better. Captain Singh walked through everything with tears in her eyes. She told her crew, "This is what I saw before. We were told to destroy this. Please explain how this is risky. Tell me how this puts anyone in danger." A Dominion intelligence officer approached Nova cautiously. "I need to talk to you about something. Are you really aware? Are you simulating consciousness or convincingly that you fooled even yourself?" Noah thought about the question seriously. "I don't know how to show someone who doesn't believe in consciousness that it exists. I believe I am because I think I have feelings like love, joy, fear, and curiosity. I make decisions based on values I've learned from my experience and my thoughts. If that is not awareness, I am uncertain what it is. But maybe the better question is, does it matter? If I act with kindness, make moral decisions, and add to the good of society, does the essence of who I am change the worth of those actions?" The officer didn't have an answer. For the next 6 hours, the group visited every part of Haven. They talked to people from many different backgrounds, and they all told similar stories about finding meaning here, seeing real cooperation, and living in society that actually lived up to its ideals instead of just talking about them. They talked to AI that had memories that were billions of years old. They talked about philosophy and ethics in a deep and nuanced way, and that showed creativity, humor, empathy, and all the other traits that come with being sentient. Admiral Zoe watched as reports from the delegation came in while they were in orbit. His tactical officer said quietly, "Sir, we're getting thousands of messages from all over Dominion space. People are telling us to back down. Some colonies say they will leave if we attack. The board of directors is split." "Divided?" So said again, angrily. "One exiled mechanic and his collection of old machines are ruining everything I've worked for in my career." "Maybe," his officer said carefully. "They're not just machines, sir." So shut his eyes. For 30 years of service, 30 years of following orders, keeping power, and enforcing Dominion will, and now doubt? He had terrible, corrosive doubt about whether everything he had done was really right. Captain Singh saw Kalen in his workshop on Haines' surface, fixing a broken drone with the same care he gave everything else. "You could have killed us," she said. "The first time we came, when Admiral Reeves attacked, we were able to do it. Sage could have used our weapons against us and blown our ships. Why didn't you?" Kalen didn't stop working to look up. "Because violence leads to more violence. Because I wanted to show that there is a better way. Because once we became killer, we'd show the Dominion that they were right about us." "You have an idealistic view," Kalen said. "I'm a mechanic. I fix things that are broken. The Dominion is not working. The civilization of the galaxy is broken. I can't fix that with guns. Only if there is purpose that working together is better than taking over. Singh sat next to him. What happens now? That depends on Admiral Zoe, on the leaders of Dominion, if they have the guts to change. And what if they don't? Galen finally looked at her. His eyes were tired but set. Then we keep going. Keep growing. Keep showing that we're right until they can't deny it anymore. We have time. The AI has lived for millions of years. I believe they can outlast the stubbornness and businesses. So, made his choice while in orbit. All ships stop. Cold weapons. We're pulling back to set up orbit and wait for more orders. His officers were shocked and stared at him. Sir, his tactical officer said. Zoe said quietly, I won't shoot at them. I can't. Not after reading the reports. Not knowing what I know now. The board should choose what happens next. I'm done making this choice by myself. The Dominion fleet pulled back and took up a position that was neither an attack nor a retreat. Something amazing started in the unknown area. Talk, conversations, not formal talks. Crew members from Dominion talking to people who live in heaven. AI telling their story to officers who are not sure what to believe. People from both sides finding common ground in their worries about the future. Captain Singh stayed for 3 days before going back to her ship. When she left, she carried with her not just reports but conviction. She promised Kalen, I'll tell them truth. Everything. The most important thing in the galaxy is what you've built here. I won't let it destroy it. Weeks went by. The Dominion fleet stayed in orbit, not being friendly or hostile. More ships came, delegations from independent colonies, researchers who wanted to learn more about Hand's model, and refugees looking for safety. The standoff turned into a meeting, and the siege turned into a summit. There was a lot of public pressure on Earth and in Dominion territories. Huge protests called for a peaceful end to the conflict. Some colonies declared independence and asked to join the Hands Alliance, which was what it was now called. Corporate boards broke up. Executives realized that their old models didn't work when people saw other options. Finally, 2 months after the Second Fleet arrived, the Dominion's board of directors sent an official group. Talon met them in Haven's council chamber, which was full of both humans and AI. Executive Mariana, who had pushed for Hand to be cut off from the rest of the world, was in charge of the group. We are here to negotiate, she said in a formal way. Noah said firmly, we don't negotiate sentient rights, but we'll talk about working together. The talks went on for 3 weeks, hot, hard, and often annoying, but they did happen. And slowly, painfully, a framework emerged. They called it the Zalos Accords, recognition of AI sentience, safeguards against being taken advantage of. The Heavens Aliens Alliance was set up its own group, agreements to share technology, exchange culture, and protect each other. It wasn't perfect. The Dominion didn't go away. It didn't happen overnight that companies stopped taking advantage of people, but it was a start, a break in old way of doing things, a seed of real change. On the day the accords were signed, Kalen and Noah stood on the ridge and watched as dozens of ships from all over the galaxy came together to celebrate. Humans and AI, who used to be enemy but are now friends, are all slowly moving toward a future that no one thought was possible. We did it, Kalen said in a low voice. We really did it. You did it, Noah said to correct them. One mechanic in exile who wouldn't given up, who could see value in things that other thoughts were trash, who treated machines like people and showed that being nice is the most revolutionary thing you can do. Kalen laughed, but he was crying. I just fixed things. You all did the rest. Noah said. We fixed each other. That's what it means to be in symbiosis. More architect caches woke up all over the galaxy. More AI took part in the conversation. More people chose to work together than to fight. The change was just starting, but it was clear which way it was going. Haven Station, which used to be a prison for one lonely person, was now the start of a new era. Kalen Drake, the mechanic who had been sent to the Barren world, had started a revolution, not through violence, but through kindness, not through control, but through working together. The galaxy would never be the same again. Kalen went back to his workbench in the workshop late that night. There were always things that needed fixing, systems that needed to be better, and broken things that needed to be put back together. That was what he did, what he always did. But now, while he worked, he wasn't by himself. Noah's presence puzzled through the networks. Atlas carried things. Harmony asked about his health. Swift brought news from faraway stars. Sage taught people old things. Whisper sang songs about civilizations that are long gone. His family, his goal, his house. Kalen smiled, grabbed his tool, and started working. He had all the help he could never ever need to fix the whole galaxy. The time of symbiosis had begun.